Welcome to a look back at the iconic cast of one of television's most beloved sitcoms, The Dick Van Dyke Show. Join us as we explore the lives and careers of the stars of The Dick Van Dyke Show, highlighting their unforgettable contributions to entertainment and remembering their lasting impact. Dick Van Dyke played the lovable and witty Rob Petri, the head writer for the fictional The Alan Brady Show on The Dick Van Dyke Show. Van Dyke's comedic timing and charm brought Rob to life, making him one of the most beloved sitcom characters in television history. When The Dick Van Dyke Show premiered, Dick Van Dyke was already a rising star, thanks to his Broadway success in Bye Bye Birdie. His performance on the show solidified his reputation as a comedic genius, earning him 3 Emmy Awards during the series' run. Van Dyke's physical comedy and sharp wit made the show a cultural phenomenon, and his on-screen chemistry with Mary Tyler Moore was unparalleled. At the age of 98, Dick Van Dyke continues to be a living legend. He has remained active in Hollywood, appearing in films like Night at the Museum and Mary Poppins Returns, where he reprised his connection to the beloved original film. Despite personal challenges, such as overcoming alcoholism, Van Dyke has remained a symbol of resilience and positivity. His long life and ongoing enthusiasm for performance make him an inspiration for fans worldwide. Mory Amsterdam played Buddy Sorrell, the wisecracking writer on The Alan Brady Show and Rob Petrie's closest colleague. Buddy's humor, filled with one-liners and snappy comebacks, added a constant comedic edge to the show. Known as the human joke machine. Due to his quick wit and talent for improvisation, Amsterdam brought endless humor to the role of Buddy. His comedic brilliance was informed by years of experience in vaudeville, radio, and early television. Buddy's humorous interactions with Sally and Rob became one of the show's highlights. Morey Amsterdam passed away in 1996 at the age of 87 due to a heart attack. His contributions to comedy and television are still celebrated by fans and peers alike. Amsterdam's comedic legacy endures, and his role on The Dick Van Dyke Show remains a cornerstone of his career. Carl Reiner, Alan Brady. Carl Reiner was the genius creator of The Dick Van Dyke Show and portrayed Alan Brady, the egotistical and demanding star of The Alan Brady Show. His character provided a satirical look at the entertainment industry and was one of the earliest examples of a boss from hell on television. Carl Reiner was already a comedy legend by the time he created The Dick Van Dyke Show. Having honed his craft on Your Show of Shows alongside Sid Caesar and Mel Brooks, Reiner's brilliance as a writer, actor, and producer was unmatched. Alan Brady became a hilarious recurring character known for his vanity and temperamental outbursts. Behind the scenes, Reiner's leadership helped shape the groundbreaking sitcom that balanced workplace humor with heartfelt family moments. Carl Reiner passed away in 2020 at the age of 98. Over his lifetime, he won numerous accolades, including 11 Emmy Awards, and remained a creative force until his final years. His contributions to comedy, including The Dick Van Dyke Show, made him a towering figure in television history. Reiner's legacy is carried on by his timeless work and his children, including director Rob Reiner. Jerry Paris played Jerry Helper, Rob and Laura Petrie's friendly and sometimes overly inquisitive neighbor and dentist. His interactions with the Petries added a relatable suburban dynamic to the show. Jerry Paris had a long career as an actor before joining The Dick Van Dyke Show, but his role as Jerry Helper became one of his most recognizable. His comedic timing and ability to bring charm to every scene made him a beloved part of the ensemble. Beyond his acting, Paris was also gaining interest in directing, often shadowing Carl Reiner and others on set. Jerry Paris passed away in 1986 at the age of 60 due to complications from cancer. After the show ended, Paris became a highly successful director, helming episodes of Happy Days and other hit shows. Though his life was cut short, his contributions to television, both in front of and behind the camera, remain significant. Morgan Guilbert brought humor and heart to her role as Millie Helper, Laura Petrie's best friend and the wife of Jerry Helper. Millie's cheerful and quirky personality made her a fan favorite. Morgan Guilbert was a gifted actress with impeccable comedic timing, and her portrayal of Millie was no exception. As Laura's confidant, Millie added depth and humor to the show's suburban setting, Gilbert's ability to switch between comedic and heartfelt moments made Millie a memorable character. Morgan Guilbert passed away in 2016 at the age of 87 after a battle with cancer. She continued acting throughout her life, appearing in shows like The Nanny and Grey's Anatomy. Gilbert's talent and versatility earned her respect across generations of audiences, and her role as Millie Helper remains one of her most iconic performances. Richard Deacon played Mel Cooley, the mild-mannered and often ridiculed producer of The Alan Brady Show. As Alan Brady's brother-in-law, Mel was frequently the target of jokes from Buddy Sorrell, adding a layer of comedic tension to the show. Richard Deacon's portrayal of Mel Cooley was a masterclass in understated comedy. His ability to play the straight man to Buddy's jabs and Alan's tirades made Mel a sympathetic and amusing character. Before joining The Dick Van Dyke Show, Deacon had already established himself in Hollywood with roles in films like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Richard Deacon passed away in 1984 at the age of 62 due to a heart attack. After The Dick Van Dyke Show, he continued to work steadily in television, including his role as Fred Rutherford on Leave It to Beaver. Deacon's gentle humor and memorable performances have cemented his place in TV history. Mary Tyler Moore, Laura Petri. Mary Tyler Moore captivated audiences as Laura Petri, Rob's charming, witty, and stylish wife. Laura became one of the most iconic TV characters of her time, blending comedy, grace, and relatability, while also redefining how women were portrayed on television. Her character's capri pants, quick wit, and affectionate relationship with Rob stood in stark contrast to the more traditional, subservient depictions of housewives in that era. Before The Dick Van Dyke Show, Mary Tyler Moore had appeared in commercials and small roles, but Laura Petri made her a star. Moore's natural comedic timing and on-screen chemistry with Dick Van Dyke made her an irreplaceable part of the show. Her performances earned her 2 Primetime Emmy Awards and set her on a path to become one of the most beloved actresses in television history. Mary Tyler Moore passed away in 2017 at the age of 80 due to complications from pneumonia. After The Dick Van Dyke Show, she starred in The Mary Tyler Moore Show, another groundbreaking sitcom, and earned critical acclaim for her dramatic performances, including her role in Ordinary People. Her legacy as a television pioneer and an advocate for diabetes research remains profound. While Ray Romano was not a part of The Dick Van Dyke Show during its original run, the show had a significant influence on his later career. Romano often credited The Dick Van Dyke Show as an inspiration for his own hit sitcom, Everybody Loves Raymond. The humor, focus on family dynamics, and mix of workplace and home life echoed many elements of the 1960s classic. Ray Romano's Everybody Loves Raymond premiered in 1996 and was an immense success, running for 9 seasons and earning Romano multiple Emmy Awards. Like Dick Van Dyke, Romano brought a relatable, comedic take on everyday life, making audiences laugh with his wry humor and heartfelt performances. Ray Romano remains active in the entertainment industry, with acclaimed dramatic roles in projects like The Irishman and Somewhere in Queens. Though he wasn't a part of The Dick Van Dyke Show, the sitcom's influence on his career and the broader world of television comedy is undeniable. Peter Oliphant made a memorable guest appearance on The Dick Van Dyke Show as Freddie Helper, the mischievous son of Jerry and Millie Helper. Though his role was small, it left a lasting impression, showcasing the show's ability to create well-rounded supporting characters. As a child actor, Peter Oliphant had a brief but notable career in the early 1960s. His role as Freddie Helper allowed him to bring humor and a touch of innocence to the show. Despite being a young performer, his scenes were lively and added a unique dynamic to the Helper-Petri family interactions. Peter Oliphant transitioned out of acting and went on to pursue a successful career in game development, becoming a programmer and designer. While his time on The Dick Van Dyke Show was short-lived, fans of the series still fondly remember his performance as the lovable yet mischievous Freddie Helper. Though Chuck McCann did not have a recurring role on The Dick Van Dyke Show, his comedy career intersected with many of the show's themes and performers. McCann was a celebrated comedian, voice actor, and TV personality known for his unique humor and contributions to children's television. During the era of The Dick Van Dyke Show, McCann was building a name for himself in New York City as a versatile entertainer. His children's TV shows and ability to impersonate voices made him a popular figure. Though he wasn't a core cast member, his influence on the comedic landscape of the time aligned with the kind of humor Carl Reiner and Dick Van Dyke brought to the small screen. Chuck McCann passed away in 2018 at the age of 83. Throughout his career, he worked on countless projects, including voice acting roles in animation and memorable live-action performances. While not directly tied to the Dick Van Dyke Show, McCann's work helped define the golden age of television comedy. Roger C. Carmell, Saul Pomeroy. Roger C. Carmell made a memorable appearance on the Dick Van Dyke Show as Saul Pomeroy, one of Rob Petrie's old Army buddies. Known for his unique blend of charisma and comedic timing, Carmell's performance added depth to the episode and highlighted his versatility as a character actor. Roger C. Carmell was already a familiar face on television by the time he appeared on the Dick Van Dyke Show. Though his role as Saul Pomeroy was brief, he made an impact with his natural ability to play charming and slightly eccentric characters. He gained widespread recognition later for his role as Harcourt Fenton Harry Mudd in Star Trek, where he became a fan favorite for his portrayal of the lovable conman. Carmell's promising career was cut short when he passed away in 1986 at the age of 54. Despite his relatively early death, Carmell left a lasting legacy with his unforgettable performances across television and film. Fans of the Dick Van Dyke Show continue to cherish his contribution to the series and his ability to bring humor and humanity to every role he played. Rose Marie portrayed Sally Rogers, the sharp-tongued and hilarious writer on The Alan Brady Show. Her trailblazing role as a female comedy writer in a male-dominated industry was revolutionary for its time. Rose Marie had a long career in show business before the Dick Van Dyke Show, starting as a child star in the 1920s and 1930s. Her wit and comedic talent shone brightly as Sally Rogers, earning her widespread acclaim. Sally's character was a rarity, a single, independent, and professionally successful woman, making Rose Marie a pioneer in portraying empowered female characters on television. Rose Marie passed away in 2017 at the age of 94. She left behind a legacy as one of the first prominent female comedians to break barriers in television and comedy. Her memoir, Hold the Roses, detailed her remarkable journey in Hollywood and her unyielding passion for entertaining audiences. Larry Mathews played Richie Petri, the adorable and mischievous son of Rob and Laura Petri. As the youngest member of the cast, Mathews brought warmth and family charm to the show. Larry Mathews was just a young child when he joined the cast. Despite his limited acting experience, his natural charisma made Richie a beloved character. He often served as the heart of the show, adding relatable family moments amidst the chaos of Rob's work life. Larry Mathews stepped away from acting after the Dick Van Dyke Show ended and pursued a career behind the scenes in television production. Now in his late 60s, Mathews occasionally appears at fan conventions and retrospectives, sharing fond memories of his time on the show. Though he didn't continue as an actor, his portrayal of Richie Petri remains an iconic part of TV history. J.C. Flippin appeared on the Dick Van Dyke Show as Sam Pomeroy, another character connected to Rob Petrie's past. Known for his rugged demeanor and strong screen presence, Flippin brought a different kind of energy to the show, contrasting with the comedic and lighthearted tone while still fitting seamlessly into the narrative. J.C. Flippin was a veteran actor by the time he guest starred on the Dick Van Dyke Show. With a career that began in vaudeville and transitioned into films and television, Flippin was a seasoned performer known for roles in westerns and dramas. His gruff voice and commanding presence made him a go-to character actor in Hollywood during the 1950s and 1960s. J.C. Flippin passed away in 1971 at the age of 72. Despite facing health challenges in his later years, including the amputation of his leg, he continued acting and delivering memorable performances until the end. His contribution to the Dick Van Dyke Show and other iconic productions remains a testament to his talent and resilience. As we've seen, the stars of the Dick Van Dyke Show brought laughter and heart to millions of viewers and left an indelible mark on the television landscape. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more looks at the stars of television history. Which of these talented actors left the biggest impression on you? Let us know in the comments below.